Phyllis, you have a question?
Phyllis, yeah.
Yeah.
Marcel, you pose as well, but I answer Phyllis' question first.
Okay.
So, Sifu, sorry, when sometimes we hear Dharma teaching, they will say, exit samsara. So sometimes I wonder, what does it mean by exit samsara? Does it mean that, yeah, you know, we see there's so much suffering, we want to be liberated, or we want to become a Buddhahood? So I want to understand, what does it mean by exit samsara?
Very good question. What does it mean by exit samsara? So do you know where is samsara? First, we must know where is samsara. Do you know where is samsara?
Now we are in samsara.
Very good. So do you know where is nirvana?
Yes.
You know where is nirvana? Where?
Nirvana or lavana? Nirvana.
Nirvana?
Nirvana, is it?
Yeah.
My understanding of Nirvana is like you kind of, if under the lower school, we basically just okay, I don't know how to express. Sorry.
Use Mandarin lah. Yeah. Use Mandarin lah. No, Phyllis, your mic is off. Hang on, Phyllis. Don't worry. I'm not testing you, and you don't have to give what you think is the right answer. Yeah. Just share what you think is nirvana.
Nirvana is something like become like of course not Buddhahood, is for more personal liberation. That's my understanding.
Okay. So, but where is nirvana?
Nirvana 去就是好像pass on 是吗？
Pass on lah. That means die already lah. Is it?
Well, I most of the time I hear Nirvana or become Buddhahood. So if you really want to be kind of like happy, yeah. So yeah, that could be one of the path that we are going.
One of the path. Okay, so a few things to maybe align. Yeah. So again, your question is a good question. Okay, don't worry. And don't worry about whether you know what is nirvana or don't know what is nirvana, because I can assure you, I picked a handful of those who are present, right? You see all of them kanchong already, they start to sweat already. They start to sweat in the pants. The truth is, for many Buddhists, nirvana is just an idea. And in fact, for many Buddhists, it's not even a clear idea. Yeah. So the first thing is, nirvana is not a place. Yeah. It's not a place somewhere that you can arrive at, that you can then be free of suffering, because nirvana basically means to be free of suffering. Yeah.
Peace, is it something like peace?
The description, the way in Buddhism, the way the Buddha described it, he don't describe it as, well, he does describe it as peace, but he used a lot of different terms to describe it. Yeah. But the most pronounced one is the cessation of suffering. Yeah. And the true cessation of suffering is the cessation of craving and clinging, of defilements. Yeah. So as a result, in Buddhism, when we say nirvana, it is simply when you are free of suffering, completely free of suffering, because you are free of the causes of suffering. Yeah, yeah, because in Buddhism, it's not that you die then you attain Nirvana. Okay, so that's one key distinction, and that's why the Buddha often says that the Dharma is to be experienced here and now. Yeah, you can attain Nirvana here and now. You don't have to wait until you die, then next life, then attain Nirvana. No. So when a person is managed to be free of defilements, free of ignorance, free of greed, hatred, and delusion, then the person is said to be free of suffering and is said to have attained nirvana. But because the person, despite having attained nirvana, still has these aggregates, yeah, still have these aggregates, yeah. So it is named nirvana with residue, yeah. There's still remnants of the aggregates, yeah, which can lead to suffering, yeah. In particular, the arahants can still feel pain. Okay, they can still feel bodily pain. Yeah, but we say, despite the pain, they don't suffer away. No, they don't suffer away. Then when a person attain final nirvana, basically they once they have attained nirvana and then they pass away, then we say they have attained parinibbana, the complete cessation. The earlier part is cessation of suffering. Then when they pass away, it's complete cessation of suffering. Yeah. For the most part, that is what we need to know. Yeah, for the most part. So then it seems like we are changing a state. Yeah, from being in this place where we are suffering, and then you enter into this state where there's no suffering. And so there seems to be a shift in state. Yeah. There are more I want to talk about, but I don't know whether I'm going off point. Yeah. What was your original question?
Let's continue. My question is, what do we mean by exit samsara?
Okay. So when it is not uncommon to say exit samsara. Yeah. 出离生死. Yeah. 出离生死. To get out of this cyclical existence of birth and death. But when we say 出离, yeah, or we say exit or get out, then it seems as though we are getting out from a place called samsara to another place called nirvana. Yeah, and for the most part, that is helpful. Yeah, for most people at the early stage, this is a very helpful idea. Okay, very helpful idea, because then you have an impetus to say, okay, samsara has all the flaws, and then there's a place, yeah, a place where it's ideal, yeah, without all the suffering. A somewhat parallel would be when we tell kids saying, when you finish your studies and you get out into society, but where's the society? Huh? Have you ever thought about this? Yeah, adults always tell the kids, right? You study hard. Next time you get out into the society, then what? But is there a society out there that you get into? You're already in society, or actually, right? You are in society. It's not that there's another society to get out into, right? So likewise, in the Mahayana teachings, then it says that actually there's no nirvana outside of samsara. Yeah, apart from samsara, you cannot find nirvana. Nirvana is to be experienced here and now. Yeah. So in the Mahayana teachings, then it transcends this duality of the samsara and nirvana. But at the same time, samsara and nirvana is not the same thing. Yeah. Puyi. It's not the same, but it's not separate also. We just touched on this 2 weeks ago in the Heart Sutra class. Yeah. So when we say exit samsara, basically what it really means is to end suffering, to cease suffering. Yeah. It's not that we go somewhere else. No. But the notion to get out is very helpful for people who are still suffering. Yeah, because then there's a stronger visceral notion that you're getting out. Yeah, like now if someone is suffering and you tell them, oh, just attain nirvana, then then you say, then the person asks you, so, well, what it means by getting attain nirvana? Does it mean we get out of this lousy place? No, we are still inside here. It's just that you don't suffer. Then the person may like, huh? Still inside here? But I'm suffering inside here. Then the person, no, but by then you won't suffer. But the person cannot imagine because the person has been suffering for so long. So tell the person, this place suffering. There's another place called Nirvana. You go Nirvana, no suffering. Easier to understand. So the person, wow, how? Okay, sure. How to get out? You must not crave for things in samsara. You must not be attached to things in samsara. Then you can leave samsara, go to nirvana. Oh, okay. But by the time the person is not attached to things in samsara, not attached to samsara itself, then samsara doesn't affect you. Then you don't suffer because of samsara. Then it's no longer samsara. Then it's nirvana. But then there's another problem with this, which is then there are those that, so I mentioned the first problem with people hearing the full picture before they are ready, which is that they have fear. I'm still stuck here. The second one is when they hear that, oh, actually there's no separate nirvana, we're already in nirvana. Yeah, this is nirvana. It's just that we still have delusion, we still have ignorance, so we have attachment, and then because of attachment we suffer. Nothing wrong with this place in that sense. Then they think, oh, then we are already in Buddha, then don't have to do anything. And then this is the other problem. But then it continues to suffer. Okay.
Yeah. So my thought of exit samsara is like a monastic thought.
Monastic.
Meaning like, okay, maybe become a nun or become a monk. So I mean that's why I popped this question out, like exit samsara. So that was my thought, is to, if I exit samsara, does it mean that become a nun or or a monk? So that's why I want the understanding.
Yeah, that's why students always have 2-3 questions. They only ask the first one. Okay, so about your thought, it is not that you become a monk or nun, then you automatically exit samsara. It is that the monastic life is conducive for you to practice the path, train in the path, that enable you to remove the defilements, and as a result attain nirvana. It doesn't mean that lay people cannot do it. It's just that by virtue of being in the position of a lay person, you have numerous duties, numerous commitments, preoccupations, and so on. Yeah, that hinders you. But let me clarify something about the lay position. It is not that there's a separate lay position that is hindering you. Yeah. Like, imagine this is you, okay? And then it's not that there's a lay position, then the lay position hinder you. Yeah, it's that you have preoccupation. You have preoccupations in your mind. You have like there are ideas in your mind. So you choose to be in a lay position, and that's why you are hindered. Versus, actually you are not hindered. Then you choose, then because you are in a lay position, that's why you are hindered. Can you all see the difference? Important thing, it is because of a person's mindset that they choose to remain in a lay position. And it is this mindset that leads to preoccupation that hinder you. If a person think that, oh, it's the lay position that hinder me, that causes me suffering, but don't realize that it's the mindset that causes the hindrance, the obstacles, then the person go and choose to become a monk or nun, but bring along all this mindset, you continue, you cannot liberate also. So in the text, it does says that, oh, the lay life is but you must know that it's your choice to remain in lay life. Yeah, there's two parts to it, because once you're in the lay life, there's all these things, but you must know that it's because you choose this lay life that is what is hindering you. Yeah. So if you go on to, if not you, not Phyllis, but if a person choose to go and take up the ropes, but never change those mindset, then just going in this direction doesn't help you also. Yeah. Granted, a person may go on to take up the ropes, still have some of these funny ideas, okay, the wrong ideas, the wrong mindset, but see that it's a wrong mindset. That's another angle. You are in the lay life and you see that there's all this wrong preoccupation. You choose the monastic life and make use of the monastic life to change those wrong mindset, to change those preoccupation. You may not change immediately. Yeah, I mean, who can change immediately? Even Venerable Mahamoggallana took 7 days. Yeah, even Venerable Kunananda took 7 days, the fastest 7 days. Yeah. So, but while we may not take such a short time, we may take 7 years, 70 years, but you must first recognize that those mindsets are wrong. Yeah, those attitudes are wrong, and then slowly work towards them. And then you'll be fruitful. Okay. And that's why even lay people, even though they are in a lay position, they are able to attain enlightenment because they manage to change themselves.
Thank you, Sifu. Thanks for the explanation.
So let me just touch on Jing Zeng's question first. 出离生死 and 出离心 are the 出离 same meaning? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Jing Zeng, yes. So usually translated as renunciation. Yeah. And unfortunately, oftentimes then we think that renunciation means to go and 出家. Yeah. I really appreciate what my teacher explained, which is that the 出离 or 出离心 itself is not simply thinking I want to become a monk or nun. Yeah, it is a kind of mindset change towards something. Yeah, and at one level, it is towards the worldly life. Okay, but more importantly, it is towards defilements. 出离贪嗔痴，出离我们的烦恼。So my teacher explained, 我们说出离心，说出家，那是要出烦恼家。So it is to have renunciation towards the home of defilements, towards defilements. And in which case, then it makes sense that if you can be if you can have renunciation towards defilements, yeah, towards our craving and attachment, then you are able to be free of samsaric existence also. Marcel posted a question from Wei Ching. Shifu, hi Shifu. I attended a Feng Shui talk that certain number we use in our mobile cause bad luck and sickness. In view of Buddhist teaching, is there such a thing? Is there such thing? Wei Ching, not here. This is a good question. And why do I say it's a good question? Because sometimes when after we learn Dhamma, we feel like, oh, we must ask very Dhamma question. Yeah. But for many people, we learn Dhamma, but we may still retain this kind of idea, Yeah. So this is a good question because these are questions that sometimes people don't feel comfortable to ask because they feel it's not Dhamma enough. But this is a good question. Yeah, because a lot of people after entering Buddhism, after learning Dhamma, may retain some old ideas. Yeah, that's what I mentioned, yeah, the old ideas. Yeah. So first of all, Feng Shui and this notion of certain numbers in a mobile causing bad luck and sickness, these are two different things. Okay. I challenge anyone. I don't say challenge. Later, really got late tai sai. Yeah, but as far as I know, there's no historical book on Feng Shui, yeah, that actually talk about numbers in mobile because mobiles didn't exist last time. Yeah, I had a student, a friend, who's from China, and her major was art, yeah, and she did her master's in, was it master's or PhD? I think it was her master's. Her master's was done in UK, and her master's was on interior design, yeah. In China, when they study art, they study all the different art, Western art, Eastern art. So she can really like draw all kinds, portrait, landscape, whatever, oil painting, water, whatever. And then she specialized into interior design. But her interior design was a paper on Feng Shui, on the 四合院, and the traditional Chinese layout of a house. And then she looked at it from the angle of Feng Shui. So she shared with me a bit. I'm not an expert in it, but from the little she shared with me, it gave me a different appreciation of what Feng Shui is. The so-called Feng Shui is basically a condensation of what we call ergonomics, macro ergonomics. Yeah, the Feng and Shui basically talk about airflow and humidity. Yeah, but there are many other elements, but just these two main things to summarize the whole field. Yeah, and if you think about it, if a place has little airflow, the air will be stagnant, and if you stay there for one day, not much effect. If you stay there for the whole day, for the whole year, and you sleep there, it's bound to affect your health, isn't it? If the place is too humid or too dry, then we are bound to fall sick. Yeah. So there's this aspect of how our environment affects us. Yeah. So if we just look at Feng Shui and ask ourselves, does Buddhism recognize Feng Shui? Well, it's like asking a Buddhist monk, does Buddhism recognize Panadol? Well, Panadol has its effect. What we're talking about, It's like asking me, does Buddhism recognize air conditioning? Well, of course, what? Yeah. That's why every time doing retreat, sometimes I will switch off the aircon, see whether you recognize or not. Buddhists who say they don't recognize Feng Shui, ask them to go and meditate in the hot sun. No? Yeah, ask them, don't turn on aircon. Yeah, see how it affects you. The distinction is, in Buddhism, we first recognize that when we are not enlightened, we're easily affected by the environment. Yeah, environment does affect our body, and because we are attached to our body, we get affected by it. It's not the environment directly affect us, it's that it affects our body. Our body is just physicality. Physicality affects each other. But unfortunately, because we're attached to our body, that's why we get affected by environment. If you're not attached to how the body feels, how bodily feelings arise, then environment cannot affect you. Yeah. Isn't it true? You switch off aircon, then the place become still, right? And then you may start to feel like your breathing becomes slightly affected, right? But if you're not attached body, affected, you may start to feel like, hey, when there's no wind passing around or there's no cold air, then your body temperature starts to rise. But if you're not affected by the body temperature, then it doesn't affect you. Correct or not? Yeah. So like during retreats, I would sometimes choose to switch off the aircon for various reasons. Part of the reason is to get people to question why they need to switch on the aircon. To get people to realize that we are attached to our body. It's not to torture people. If I want to torture people, I'll go around with a stick and whack people. Yeah, I go around with a satay stick and poke people. Yeah, torture people, there are many easier ways. So don't have to switch on aircon, switch off aircon. Switch off aircon, I also torture myself. I think I assume go around poking people. Easier, ma. So in Buddhism, we don't say that environment don't affect us. We say recognize how much we are affected, but know why we are affected. And when we know why we are affected, then we have a possibility of overcoming, transcending this. And transcending this is not it's not changing environment, it's changing how we relate to it. Make sense? Yeah. So, so that's why when people ask, do we recognize Feng Shui? We recognize that the environment can affect people, but we don't say that that's all we can do, be affected. We don't say that, so you must go and make major changes. Yeah. But at the same time, no harm making some changes. For example, in a day, you have your windows open. Then the weather can change, then suddenly it rains. Are you going to just sit down there and then let the rain come in and then you're like, oh, must overcome body over mind, body over mind, body over mind. You can always go and close the window. Is there any precept that says, oh, if one, I take the training rule not to close the window. If I close the window, I go to hell. There's no such a rule, right? Correct or not? Yeah. So Feng Shui, as far as Feng Shui is concerned, that's how I look at it. Yeah. But there's other parts of Feng Shui, which is the way things are put around. Yeah. And this has to do with also ergonomics. Yeah. You know, computer chair and table, right? How high the table is, how high the monitor is, it affects us. Why? Because if it's too high, you're always like that. Then you're straining your neck. If it's too low, then you're looking like that. Then you're straining your neck. Similarly, on the larger environment, if you put certain things that you always knock into, you're bound to feel frustrated. You have to always like walk here, walk there, right? So let me just wrap up the part on Feng Shui with a funny story. So there was this guy who moved to, I think I've told this story in the morning before. Have you heard of the story of the Feng Shui story? Okay, never mind, I'll tell again very quickly. So this guy moved to a new place, then started having headache. He called a Feng Shui master over, then Feng Shui master said can be fixed. Then he said, okay, so wrote a talisman, then asked him to paste it on the beam. And then told him that, you know, it's fixed already. Then he said, wow, really? So he said, you don't believe? A few weeks later, you come and see me. So after a few weeks, he went to see the Feng Shui master, and then the Feng Shui master asked him, like, so how? Is your headache gone? Yeah. Then he's like, yeah, it's gone, you know. How? Like, it's so amazing. How is it that you just paste one talisman, then it's okay? Then he said, oh, this is then he said, no, hey, can you tell me? Can you tell me? Then it's like, you really want to know? Said, yeah, tell me. Then he told him, your beam is a bit too low. Because he stick the thing there, so he avoid the beam. So he avoid the talisman. So when he avoid the talisman, he don't knock into the beam. This is not meant to ridicule Feng Shui. It's meant to show how Feng Shui can be very practical. It's meant to be practical. But if you don't explain it, then it seems, wow, very magical. But I'm sure if there are those who have strong belief in Feng Shui, they watch this video, wow, they'll come after me. Yeah, but I feel that sometimes even those legit Feng Shui masters, right, they are compelled to create some magical things. Why? Because human beings, you know, human beings, if you explain too clearly, they're like, huh? Just like that? Huh? Just like that? Then I need to pay you consultation fee. It's like any field. You go and ask around any field, yeah. If you solve the problem too easily, they're like, huh? Just like that. So in fact, some students, when they attend Dharma classes, and after the class, they're like, huh? Just like that? You mean, huh? They cannot wrap their head around how it can be so straightforward or simple. But the second part, mobile number, certain number in mobile causing bad luck and sickness. I'm not sure whether this is actually inside Feng Shui to begin with. So I can't comment on it. Yeah. As far as that Feng Shui has this idea, I can't comment on this. But can numbers cause you bad luck and sickness? Can or not? Can, if you believe, lor. You don't believe, You don't believe, Just a sound can make you not feel good, you know. Yeah. Think of someone you don't like. Okay. Yeah. And think of that person's name. Yeah. If every day you think of that person's name and just think of that person's name without further Dharma contemplation, yeah, just thinking of that person's name will make you feel uneasy, you know. Yeah. Correct or not? 一切为心造. If you don't control your mind, anything can make you fall sick and can cause you bad luck. Yeah. So can this number really cause you sickness and bad luck? Can. If you don't control your mind, you don't control your mind, then anything can also give you bad luck. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So that's why in Buddhism, yeah, the Buddha teaches us to restrain our mind, yeah, to learn to master our mind, not to let our mind run wild. Okay. 愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿得智慧真明了，
愿得智慧真明了，
不愿罪障悉消除，
不愿罪障悉消除，
世世常行菩萨道。
世世常行菩萨道。
阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。
Have a lucky day ahead. See whether you all get more lucky or not.
谢师傅。
Bye.